All right, my next guest is on the front lines in that battle against the White House Rural Council. Joining me is Tom DeWeese, founder of the American Policy Center. So thank you for joining us. Did I outline the issue correctly, where it's, on one hand, you have government wanting to dictate how and people plan, they want to plan how and people live their lives in the rural parts of America, and on the other hand, there are groups like yourself who say, let us handle that, we're fine, thank you very much ourselves?
Well, yeah, what we're facing here is fundamentally a change in the way our government operates. What Agenda 21 does is it brings in non-elected councils, regional governments, boards that you're facing in your local communities. And the reason I say Agenda 21 brings that in is because Agenda 21 was written by a horde of non-governmental organizations, the Nature Conservancy, the Sierra Club, groups like this, International Council for Local Environmental Initiatives, or ICLEI, and then they made it their mission to bring it into the United States. And so you have them come into the federal government, help write programs and grant programs. Then you have them go into the state governments and surround the state legislators there and get them to accept those grants and write policies like creating comprehensive development plans, forcing communities to do that. Then they go into the communities and they surround your county commissioners, your city councilmen, and tell them, here are these grants, you need to get this, you need to do that. And so they forced it from the international level to UN down into your local communities, and what they're doing is changing your government.
Tell me about that. What are we worried about? What are we concerned about? What are you worried that is changing that would be to the detriment of American citizens?
Well, the creation of planning boards, of water boards, of energy boards, of historic preservation boards, these are all appointed boards. And a lot of the people serving on those boards are part of these same NGO groups with these political agendas. When you, as a citizen in your community, try to say, you know, hey, this regulation that you're putting on me is hurting me, it's hurting my property, hurting my job, whatever the case may be, they will refer you to this board. The board doesn't care what you think, and so you really don't have representative government anymore. You have a dictatorship that is essentially changing the very way the United States operates.
All right, Mr. DeWeese, let me take it to the next level. Is there any sort of, a lot of people are saying that there's some sort of, I don't know, a conspiratorial plan to congregate populations in certain around certain areas. In other words, don't let the population spread out to where it can't be, more difficult to control and to provide services for. Congregate people around certain hubs.
Yeah, if you read the Biodiversity Treaty, you will see it talking about herding people off the lands, literally, that 50% of all the land in every single state needs to be rewilded back to the way it was when Christopher Columbus stepped foot here. This is the goal. This is Dave Foreman of the Earth First, who created a wilderness project that then became the blueprint for the Biodiversity Treaty. And so you see these policies that are literally making it impossible for people to live on rural lands. Right now, the state of Maryland is working to ban septic tanks in rural areas, supposedly to protect the Chesapeake Bay. The fact of the matter is there's never been any study that's shown that a septic tank does any damage at all, but without the septic tanks, people can't live in rural areas. That's just one example of how they are herding people away.
I only have about half a minute or so. Is the movement growing, the counter White House Rural Council counter movement, is it growing?
It is growing by leaps and bounds. I've been in this fight for over 18 years, and in the last year and a half, it has been phenomenal. We have gotten over 57 communities to stop their memberships with ICLEI and begin to stand up. We've got legislation in states that is growing. We've got county commissioners that are beginning to take steps, creating property rights councils and so forth to protect property rights. It is absolutely amazing to watch, and I've never been more energized.
All right, Tom DeWeese, American Policy Center founder, sir, shining a light on a growing movement. Thank you.